All right, welcome to a post-scrimmage edition of a special Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Extra right here. One of the quarterbacks took a step. Which one? We will tell you in just a second, but this is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to this extra edition of the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis. Follow me at the Stephen Willis, and thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. So do us a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell for notifications of new video, and of course, upvote the video itself. Before we get started, we're going to do some ads in just a second, but it was a huge day for Jaxson Dart, and we're going to talk about that. The promise that he came in with in February. We've been talking how he's getting settled down and how things could change drastically from what happened in the spring. I know people jumped off the bandwagon and all of this stuff happened, but the kid put in a legitimately good performance in the most important practice of his career. Now, remember, I did say last week that a rep in this scrimmage is going to count the same, essentially, as a third down rep on Thursday's practice. And I mean that. So Luke Altmyer is in no way out of this. But we are going to talk about this scrimmage. We're going to congratulate Jaxson Dart for taking a step. And we're going to talk about relevant things that need to be talked about. But first, let's hear about from BetOnline. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events and the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. If you wanted to, I bet you they can even hook you up with an Inter Miami versus Charlotte FC MLS line. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information, from live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts. They have you covered. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, again, thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Jaxson Dart had himself a day. Let's get right into it. Nick Suss, who I think is from the Clarion Ledger. I don't know exactly which publications these guys are from. These are his unofficial stats from the scrimmage today. We're probably not going to get anything from Ole Miss, but that is okay. He has Jaxson Dart at 14 of 17, 207 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a good day by Matt Corral last year's standards. Now, I'm not calling him Matt Corral. I'm just saying it's a really good day. Luke Altmyer ended up 13 of 20, 126 yards and a pick. Coming off the field, Lane Kiffin did say that Kincaid Dent was the MVP of the day and led 2 impressive TD drives with the threes. Now, that last part we're not really going to worry about. Kincaid Dent, fine guy, good quarterback, excellent. I think he could be a good backup if either Jaxson Dart or Luke Altmyer was not on this team. So don't take the way this show is going to go of me dismissing Kincaid Dent. But I am going to focus on the first two, because anytime you ask a question about the quarterback competition to anybody, it's always the answer is always Jaxson Dart and Luke Altmyer. So I don't think Kincaid Dent is in this race. And that's fine. But I don't think he's there. But Jaxson Dart had himself a day. And he made some waves along with fans. Some certain fans, talking like James Bruno on Twitter said, Jaxson Dart is tearing up the fall scrimmage right now, looking like he'll be the quarterback one come the season opener. Altmyer hasn't done anything. That's true. Altmyer apparently struggled at the beginning of the scrimmage, but he came around. So I caution everybody to make rash judgments off of this game. But I did say that we were in the 2 most important weeks of the season. I have said that all week. And this scrimmage and next scrimmage is going to have gravity to it. It's going to have weight. And if the next scrimmage goes like this one, I think Jaxson Dart's going to be your guy, honestly. But again, I tell people, don't root for a quarterback. Root for a quarterback to clearly win the job. And if Jaxson Dart puts together another scrimmage like this one, it's going to be hard not to give him the job. Now, remember on these scrimmages, whenever they're doing all these scripting, they can script stuff to make people look as good or as bad as they want to. You might go into a practice and you want a quarterback. He needs some confidence in front of the Ole Miss faithful, like Jaxson Dart might have needed to do. So the game gets called in ways that he is comfortable. You might have a quarterback that kind of needs to be taken down a little bit. So you put in stuff that he's not as good at. So he's going to struggle with it. All I'm saying is take a little bit of a deep breath. If Jaxson Dart does in the next scrimmage what he does in this one, Jaxson Dart is probably going to win the job. Jaxson Dart probably has a leg up on the job right now. Today was a big day. There's no way you can really get around that. I saw exactly one play from the scrimmage today, and it was about a 45-yard dime that he threw that the receiver kind of fell down, but it should have been a touchdown, honestly. But it was a really, really good play, and you saw the struggles that he had on the deep ball and the grow ball, that maybe that had been eradicated. And just looking at the passes and everything, whenever the Ole Miss media on Twitter has done a good job of not showing who's throwing the ball whenever they do their things with long passes and all that, like the Jonathan Mingo video they did on Twitter the other day. And I think there's a reason for that. I think Jaxson Dart has developed a really good deep ball. I saw that today. You saw that in his numbers, but 14 of 17, 200 yards and 2 TDs, that's nothing to sneeze at. And it could be the first step into him ironclad taking the job over. Now remember, the players that are seeing practice every day, they have an opinion on what's going on already. Whether or not we know who is ahead in the quarterback race, because that's all we heard is how close it was this week. And they want that. They want that competition. Understand that. Competition, fun, and pro mindset. 3 pillars of this program. Competition's important to these guys. So Lane Kiffin wants this competition to go into the Troy week. But Lane Kiffin might know, okay, this is going to be my guy, but we're going to do the competition thing all the way to the Troy week. There's a lot of stuff that I'm pretty excited about in this one. And we're going to have the, if they have the press conference, we're going to put that up in a little bit. But I did want to do this video real quick just to get it out there for everybody to see. But it was a good day for Jaxson Dart. It was a big day. It was a day, honestly, that he could excel a little bit because there's been so much pressure on him since he arrived on campus. So much pressure on him. And part of it might have been the way that recruitment went down. But today was the day that we were promised in mid-February. Not the day that the Grove Bowl brought. Today was the day. 14 of 17, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm interested to see with him and Zach Evans. Like I said, Ole Miss's football team's ceiling is higher with Jaxson Dart as the quarterback. Its floor is lower. Its ceiling is higher. And him and Zach Evans and Michael Trigg and Jalen Robinson, there's a chance for that to become a really special unit. This is one of those situations with this quarterback competition where running multiple fields on offense does them a lot of good. There's so many reps that they can get. When other people are standing on the sideline, twiddling their thumbs, here, a third teamer's down on the second field with Kincaid Dent and the other backup quarterbacks running these same type plays and getting them up to speed for whenever they're needed. It's actually a really, really cool thing. But I'm excited. Like I said, we're not going to handle this like anything in this quarterback competition is settled. We're not going to do that. Today, we'll just call it what it is. A good day for Jaxson Dart. Now, can he string that together in preseason game 2? Because those are the 2 really important preseason games. After that, you get into game week, you get into game prep, You get into the mock game, and all of a sudden you're playing Troy. So preseason game 2 now becomes the focus for these guys to go. But a very good day for Jaxson Dart. Okay day for Luke Altmaier, but it wasn't probably what he wanted it to be, honestly. Kincaid Dent, congratulations to him and everything, but like I said, we're not going to overdo him a bit. So good day for Jaxson Dart, and if there's a press conference later on today, we will see you then. If not, we won't. Anyway, take care.